Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, folks. Welcome to True North Insights Dharma channel and meditation channel. Hi, Carolyn. Happy Wednesday. My name is Jill Davey, and I'm one of the Dharma teachers with True North Insight, and we teach Vipassana meditation, insight meditation retreats in Canada, and also often offer courses and trainings and mentorships and weekly sitting groups. And if you check the True North Insight website, you'll see a list of sitting groups, and lots of them are continuing online right now. And hopefully we will be back in person soon. Hi, Kathy. Good evening. So this topic, I really wish this could be a discussion. Hi, Terry. Because I would really, really love to hear your thoughts and, have a real conversation about this. So I'm just sharing my experience at this time, and hopefully it may resonate for you as well. Hi, Cassie. It heartbreakingly seems to me that things are getting worse. Isn't that a hopeful message? That the divide between right and wrong, us and them, me and you, winning and losing, true and false, conspiracy and blame, that these lines are getting, this division is getting really exacerbated. Hi, Annabelle and Sandy. Maybe because maybe because I'm, home more, more time on social media, and I think many of us are, and there's more kind of things going viral. Maybe it's not more. It could just be that it seems that way to me. But it seems that the painful and divisive speech is in flames right now, really intense. And I see this happening amongst friends as well, and where people are choosing sides and really coming down hard, very hard on stuff. And it feels like the pandemic situation, which is so vast and complex, is like drawing a line in the sand, and it's not fully entrenched yet, but it's really feels like this is happening, and we're being forced into sides, and about where we stand on this, and should we be wearing a mask, and should we be physical distancing, and should the government be supporting people, and or is the whole thing, all the theories. I'm not even going to go there. And people are very vehement about these things. So I really wanted to talk more about the path and the teachings of wise speech. And friends and family, and likely students of mine, may be seeing an irony in me speaking about wise speech, because I very much often do not have wise speech. It's better. It's better than it was. But there's some old, deep habits and a lot of unskillful speech that comes through me, and that I feel regret about. So I'm not at all trying to speak as if, this is something I've got down and I'm going to let you know how it is. I'm sharing the teachings from the Dharma, from the path, and that are very much something I'm practicing with. I saw something and I didn't read it fully, and I didn't even notice who'd said it or if they were, a copy paste share thing. Somebody talking about how these sides that I'm talking about, these divides, these factions of fighting energies are rising and getting louder, and almost and there was something in the post about it becoming like a white noise, this white noise. That the post went on to say something about feeling that this is necessary and is going to transform into some new way of understanding and communicating and moving forward skillfully together. And truthfully, me personally, I'm pretty skeptical about that right now. It's and so I'm questioning a lot myself. How do we bridge this divide? How do we hear each other? How do we find ways to be kind and finding our way through in a skillful way that isn't creating more hatred and more division? So it's something that I do hope that it's possible, but I also think we really have to work hard right now to turn this tide. So I'm sure you all know well, because you have lived a human life, how words can cut like a knife, how words can literally destroy a being. We can see how a child's spirit can be crushed with words. Not just a child, anybody, even an animal. You can see, how harsh words and harsh language affects even our animal companions. And we know how language and words and speech can seed divisiveness. Of course, this is what's happening, and judgment, and then conversely, how words can enlighten and uplift and heal, encourage. And it's quite amazing to me how this does give me hope, how quickly this can change. Hi, Marcus, glad to have you here. How, if somebody, my inner words or someone else's outer words have been hurtful or harmful or gotten me down, and then just a few kind words from someone, even a sense of presence or compassion. It's not like saying the right thing, it's about what the intention is, can really make it such a difference, just turn something around completely. And I hope that there's times that I've been able to give that gift to others as well. And as some of you may have seen on the Facebook kind of sharing about this talk coming up, I shared Bhikkhu Bodhi's quote, that speech can break lives, create enemies, and start wars. Or it can give wisdom heal divisions, and create peace. And sadly, our current communication devices like this, YouTube and, text and like all the things, all the internety things, internety things that are so extremely interconnected and so fast, and that have this vast range. We can, what we say can be heard on the other side of the world in moments, tweets. And so the potential danger of harmful, untrue, unskillful words is exponentially multiplied because of all of this. Wow, that's a scary thought. Whew. And but so worthy of reflection. Before we hit share, have we looked to see, who really, are we crediting who said that? Are we really looking, researching it, or we just share? And we need to take responsibility for that. If we're sharing something, it's like we're saying it. I don't mean we're taking credit for having said what someone else has said, but it has that effect of like, I'm saying it. Look what someone else said, and there it goes. And we really need to be careful about the impact of these communication tools. And I think that wise speech is could be a really helpful place for people that think they're not meditators, for people that think, meh. I get that it's a good thing, but it's not for me. I'm not going to sit down and pay attention to my breath, or, be still and quiet for 30 minutes or whatever. A lot of folks are just not at that place where that feels like something that resonates for them as a practice. So here is your practice. Practice wise speech. Because actually, if we have a formal meditation practice, it may look like, 30, 40 minutes a day or twice a day. But truly, a formal meditation practice is all the time. Continuity of awareness all the time. But we might not think of it that way. Or if we're just starting a practice, it might be like, okay, now I'm meditating. I sit down, I set the timer, I'm meditating. But we're speaking all day. Whether or not we're speaking, internally to ourselves, it's absolutely constant. And, we're typing, we're swiping and doing all the things. And we're speaking pretty much all day, either internally or externally to ourselves or to others. And also reading, listening. These are aspects of wise speech. What are we taking in? What are we listening to? What are we reading? This is, language. Yeah. So if someone was to take up this practice, and hopefully all of us, of just wise speech, if you do just wise speech, that's your practice. Awesome. That's just fantastic. If we all really took wise speech as our practice, this could change the world. Yeah, because everybody can practice wise speech, or can. And it all counts. Like everything we say matters. Everything we do, everything we think matters. It makes a difference. It really does. Bhante Gunaratana says, have you noticed, for instance, that people tend to speak to us as they have heard us speak? That's interesting. I can hear some folks maybe feeling, no, she started it first, or he started it first, or I didn't do talk like that, but it's maybe something to look at, that people tend, that doesn't say always, but tend to speak to us as they have heard us speak. Maybe we didn't start that fight, but maybe they've heard us yelling or raising our voice or defending ourselves or expounding something. And so that may be part of the experience. Joseph Goldstein says it this way. When we have the interest and alertness to look at it, we see that speech is a mirror of our own minds. Whoa. The talk should just end right there. That's enough. Like, wow, that's heavy. Speech is a mirror of our own minds if you look closely, right? Because what we say, we've had an intention, there's been thought, intention and thought before the speech. Usually we're not aware of this, but it is true. Check it out. You might need to go on a 3-month retreat to see it. So that's impetus to practice, is it not? If you look at your speech, if I look at my speech and see it's a reflection of my mind, I really need to cultivate the mind and the awareness, the alertness. So the foundation of this practice of mindfulness, meditation, insight, vipassana, it is what's called sila, the precepts, ethical behavior. Ethical precepts are called guidelines, that are the foundation, the ground of how we move in the world and how we practice. Okay, so 5 precepts are called the 5 gifts, and because they give the gift of safety, they give the gift of knowing that we're with someone that's going to try to speak truthfully and kindly, that isn't going to try and harm us, that isn't going to steal from us, that isn't going to be sexually or sensually inappropriate with us, that isn't going to be intoxicated and heedless with us. So the wise speech is part of these 5 precepts, the ground of our practice. And along with, as I mentioned, not killing, not taking what isn't freely given, not using sexuality in a harmful way to ourselves or to others, and not taking intoxicants that cause, to the point where it causes heedlessness. So what's interesting, okay, that is that of those 5 precepts, only wise speech, right speech, is taken out of those 5 and put also into a place of great importance, the Eightfold Noble Path. So wise speech is really highlighted here, as they're all part of the path in a way, but wise speech is given its own. It's the third of the Eightfold Noble Path, or the middle way, it's called, which is the whole path, the way to happiness, the way, the practice, the path, the way to freedom, to awakening, to freedom from suffering. So this is pointing out how important wise speech is. Okay. So there's four aspects of wise speech. I should mention here, wise speech is sometimes also referred to as right speech, like on the Eightfold Noble Path. It's right mindfulness, right livelihood, right action. I'm not going to list them because it's too much information, but another time. So sometimes the word right is used, and it doesn't mean right and wrong. In fact, it means right, more like as in wise or skillful, wholesome, onward leading, virtuous, you could say. Um, yeah, so this is what that means. If you're here, it also referred to as right speech. It doesn't mean what I'm saying is right and what you're saying is wrong. It means right as in wise, wholesome, skillful, onward leading. So the four aspects of right speech now. The first is abstaining from false speech. False speech is lying, exaggerating. There's an intention to deceive. This is lying with intention. Taking advantage. There's also lies of omission, or even lies of silence. Okay, so this is the first, abstaining from false speech. The second is abstaining from slanderous speech. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of that going on right now. Creating division, alienation, hatred, judgment. And this is considered the most, what's the word? The most toxic, the most dangerous, the most problematic. That's an understatement. It's really highlighted as the worst form of unwise speech because the root of it is hatred, aversion, anger. It has this very judgmental, harsh quality to it, and there's also intention. So when there's intention and hatred, this is considered to be very bad, very unskillful. It just very poisonous. The third one is abstaining from harsh speech. Okay, so we have false speech, slanderous speech, creating division, etc. And now the third one is harsh speech. And harsh speech is yelling, it's hostile, it's scolding, insulting, sarcasm. Yes, I was quite a master of sarcasm in my day. Insulting, yelling, hostile, harsh speech. This is the stuff that really crushes a being. And some folks say that this type of abuse is more is not the right word, but as devastating and sometimes even more devastating than being physically hit. The fourth one is abstaining from idle chatter, gossip, needless information, mindlessness. It creates a dulling of the senses. Netflix is coming to mind, or whatever your poison of choice. And again, I am not immune. And so this is not to say that affectionate, polite, small talk is a problem. It's actually good. It's important. It's a way that we create community and feel safe together and can just kind of check in about stuff, And so, but idle chatter is different. Idle chatter is leaning into gossip and um, yeah. Um, really sharing a lot of needless information. In the suttas, this is from the Samyutta Nikaya. For those who are interested, it's number 657, and it's written that the Buddha has said that every person who is born with an axe in their mouth. It says his mouth here, in their mouth. A fool who uses abusive language cuts himself and others with that axe. This is the power of words. We all are born with an axe in our mouth. If that doesn't wake you up to wanting to practice wise speech, do you see how words can cut? But not only does it cut and others, but ourselves as well. So you may have noticed that the wording of those wise speeches are kind of worded in the negative, right? Of like to abstain from false speech, slanderous speech, harsh speech, and idle chatter. And sometimes folks are like, oh, why is it in the negative instead of in the positive of what we should be doing? And it's like, because if you stop doing those four things, then you are practicing wise speech. You're already doing the positive by being aware of and stopping, waking up to the effect and abstaining from, and all the ways that we've worked with right effort, talked about right efforts to work with this. So even though they're worded in the negative, if we did abstain or stop or undertake the training to abstain from, we would automatically be using wise speech. But just to clarify and to turn these into the positive, we'll just make it clear. So in the positive, it would be speaking with truth, speaking truthfully. Yeah. With the intention. So the intention is to be truthful. This is so important, intention. This is something we've also talked about in this video series, wise intention. Because sometimes, we may have an intention to speak truthfully, and then we might find out that wasn't true. So it's really the intention that matters there. Because, sometimes we don't have all the information and we don't know, and we can revise that and, make amends and apologize or clarify or rectify. Hopefully we have that opportunity. So is it true? Sometimes I ask myself this twice. I'm like, is that true? My first answer is yes. Yes, it is. Because it's something I want to believe. Yes, it is. They are this and I am that, and this is how it is. Yes, that's true. Is it really true? If I ask myself a second time, is it true? Yes, it's true. Is it really true? Well, it's true to me. Is it true to them? Is it a universal truth? No. Is it true? No, not really. Not usually. Just an opinion, just what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking, Another thing to reflect on here, one sec. With this one, is it true? How often do you notice yourself saying, I don't know? Like, say it out loud. Such a good practice. I don't know. Try that. Try that. Wow. Wow. Wouldn't the news feed be different if more people said, I don't know? Or when they share something, to say, I don't know if this is true, but this is something I'm checking out. What are your thoughts? Or, what have you heard? Or do you have some other links you could share with me on the other side of this? Wow. That would open up some great dialogue, I would think. Okay, so that's the first one. Set in the positive, speaking the truth. Speak the truth. The intention to speak truthfully. Then the second one would be speak in ways that bring awareness of our commonality, our common humanity, our interconnectedness. Speak in ways that bring harmony. Speak with sincerity. And of course, this is the opposite of slanderous speech, divisive speech, alienating speech. And this really is related to understanding our interconnectedness. The third one would be to, instead of speaking with harsh speech, hostile, scolding, yelling, is to speak with gentleness, kindness, patience, respecting differences. And the fourth one of abstaining from idle chatter would be to speak with mindfulness and intention. Joseph Goldstein. It's a big one, but if you're interested in Dharma, it's all here. Mindfulness and really approachable. I mean, it'll take you a long time to get through it, but just like read a little bit at a time. Joseph Goldstein, A Practical Guide to Awakening. Brilliant. It's all in here, the whole thing, and really accessible, of course, Joseph. Here's what he says here about this, speaking with mindfulness and intention. I first became interested in Buddhism when as a Peace Corps volunteer in Thailand. This is amazing. I conducted an experiment that proved very revealing. I decided for a period of some months, I would not speak about a third person. I would not speak to someone about someone else. What? There were some striking results. First, a large percentage of my speech was eliminated. Oh, so good. Wow. That's amazing. If you just took this one thing, I'm just going to see what it's like. He did this for months. I'm really going to do this one thing. I'm not going to talk about anyone else to someone else. And see how much less you talk. I was surprised to realize how much of my speech revolved around this kind of talk. Secondly, he says, as I stopped verbalizing my various thoughts, comments, and judgments of other people, I saw that my mind became much less judgmental even about myself. This care with speech resulted in a much more peaceful mind. That's page 375, Terry. I see that you're reading this book a little bit each day. Wow. How about that? Wow. So again, in the suttas, I know I'm going on so long. There's so much here. It says, this is also from the Samyutta Nikaya, number 452. You don't need to know what that means. I'm just saying that for people that are into that want to know that. So don't worry about it if that's not your jam. Speak kind words, words rejoiced at and welcomed, words that bear ill will to none. Always speak kindly to others. So this is phrased in the positive of how to practice wise speech. Okay. So how to take wise, I mean, there's so much here to practice with that I've already said, but I'll just kind of highlight how to practice wise speech. And really, as I was saying, if you think you're not going to be a meditator, whatever you think that is, if you think that means sitting down with a timer and just paying attention to your breath, it is certainly much more than that. But take up wise speech as your practice. So here's how we can do this. Of course, we do it with mindfulness. Same. So first, pause. Practice pausing. Just wait a moment. Before you speak. And in that moment, you could notice your intention. So previously we had a video talk here on wise intention. So you could notice your intention. Is it like to prove you're right? Is it to get what you want? Is it to get someone on your side to bolster up your beliefs? Is it to make yourself feel better? What's your intention? In that pause, you could do this, or if noticing your intention feels like, I don't know my intention, like, I don't know, notice your bodily sensations. Yeah, so what's contracted, what's happening in your gut, or do you feel shaky and vibrating? What are the sensations? What emotional states, what mind states are happening? So in that pause, you don't have to remember all this stuff, but just by pausing, this is often enough to be like, ooh, I'm really on fire. I really want to lash out, or blame, or gossip. Yeah. So that might be a time where you would ask, is it true? Is it really true? Then, so you're just practicing a pause, noticing your sensations in the body. Oh, is it true? Especially if it's something like charged, right? It's not like every time you speak, you have to stop and be like, oh, what's my intention and where's my body, right? That would work. But if it's something charged and you feel like, I might be unskillful here, this is really time. Pause, feel your body. Is it true? Is it beneficial? Is it helpful to me or to others? And is this the right time? Is it true? Is it helpful? And is it the right time? So sometimes we can say, is it true? Is it really true? Yeah, yes, it is for me. I really need to speak to this truth. Is it beneficial? I do think it's beneficial. I need to speak to this. And I also think that whoever I'm speaking to, it could be a benefit to them. Now, is it the right time? Often it's maybe good to wait, right? Find the right time. Then while you're speaking, we have the opportunity, so we can reflect before we speak, especially if it's something charged. While we're speaking, we can observe the effect on others. We can see if it's causing harm. We can see if it's causing harm to ourselves or others, or am I causing harm to myself as I'm speaking, putting myself down? You know when it is. And then after speaking, we can also reflect and practice with this. Like, and beautiful thing, we can make amends. We can apologize. We can clarify. We can go back. We can, yeah, we can do all that. Hopefully, we have the chance to do that. Oh my goodness. We need to practice. Last thing I want to share, because this came up today, and I'm grateful to a Facebook friend, Kevin Sutton, who shared a writing from Ali Henny, who is an anti-racist educator and a blog writer. Um, uh, I should put her name here so folks can look her up on Facebook or on her website, Ali Henny. So she said some amazing things here that I felt were relevant, talking about anti-racism and speech, and she says, when you see racist stuff happening, please do speak out. But you don't know everything about race and racism just because you joined the fight, quote unquote, 4 days ago. Deciding that you want to be anti-racist doesn't make you qualified to speak on the subject. You need to listen and learn from the folks who are living this every day. She says the key is to speak out, not to speak over. And I really feel this is part of wise speech. That we need to speak up and but not speak over. She says, speak up when you see your skin folk, she says, skin folk doing wrong, but don't speak over people of color who are saying the same thing. And so if we find ourselves placing ourselves as an expert on race and not listening to or learning from Black, Brown, and Indigenous people, then you are talking over us. If you take over or monopolize conversations that people of color are supposed to be part of or even leading, then you're speaking over us. If you try to tell us what we have lived, you're speaking over us. So this points to a couple aspects of wise speech here, speaking up and not speaking over, but also the practice of listening, which is part of wise speech. Practice wise listening. Okay, I really went on a long time there tonight, but let's have a practice. Please take a few sighing breaths if you need that. Try to bring some rest into your body and your posture. And practice right now feeling the sensations in your body that may have been activated by all of these words of mine. Just feeling your body. Hafiz, the poet, says the words you speak become the house you live in. So here we will take some time just to practice paying attention to the internal conversation. And to notice this internal conversation, we need a ground, we need a canvas, a background on which to see this script that's being continually written. So choose an anchor for yourself. It could be the anchor of just mindfulness of hearing, mindfulness of body, or mindfulness of breath. Check in to your intention for this practice, to practice awareness of wise speech. So when your body begins to relax and feel a little settled into your posture, let your attention really just reside with your whole being in the present moment. And as you're able and when it arises, to give a gentle and kind attention, not a judging intention, gentle, kind intention, to notice and turn up the dial of awareness on some of the internal conversation that's happening. Is your speech towards yourself or internally towards others? Is it true? Is it harsh? And even if it feels like you can't really notice the inner voices, just allowing yourself this few minutes of quietude, of stillness, where You may just notice an absence of hostility, an absence of yelling or scolding or alienation, division, judgment. And that's beautiful, just to rest in noticing the absence of those unskillful states. Allowing just a few more minutes here of knowing, resting, not adding extra layers of judgment to anything that's noticed, or just resting in this time of quietude, which may be there for you. May I, may we, may all beings speak with the intention of truthfulness. May I, may you, may we, may all beings speak in ways that bring awareness of our common humanity, harmony and interconnectedness. May I, may we, may all beings speak with kindness, gentleness, patience, and respect. May I, may we, may all beings speak with mindfulness and intention. so that together we can turn the tide of greed, hatred, and delusion. To provide protection and safety for ourselves and all beings. Betty's here. Hi, Betty. I'm so glad you're here. So we have some time for any questions about this. And I love what Marcus has written here. That's so good. To know that you know what you know, and to know that you do not know what you do not know, that is to know. I love it. To know that you know what you know, and to know that you do not know what you do not know, that is to know. That's right on. Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts or challenges, reflections on practice? Could be anything about practice or about this topic in particular. We have a few minutes here. So sweet to see who's here. And I'm sorry the practicey part was so short, but so much good stuff to say about wise speech. Is the ability to pause cultivated with practice? Great question, Terry. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, and how do we remember to remember is always a question. You know, because our habits, our sankharas, our grooves are so deep to just, speak quickly, then we need to really cultivate a way to remember a new intention, a new practice. So how do we remember to pause? So if I'm trying to really take on a new practice and remember something that I'm trying to remember, I might do something like I don't usually wear rings, but like put on some bracelet or ring or something, or put my watch, if you wear a watch or something, put it on your other wrist, something that you're really going to notice or feel. Pretty soon you'll get used to it. It'll only work for a little while. But even just like putting reminder pings, on your device, if you have one, of a little ping, a little reminder bell. I think there's free mindfulness bells that you can set kind of, at different random intervals or on the hour, and that can just teach us, I'm practicing pausing, and remind us. Okay, I did this actually with pausing. This is going to sound silly, I guess, but I did it. So I went to like an office supply or dollar store and got yellow stickers, and I drew on them a pause button, like on a tape recorder. There's a triangle for play and a square for stop, and there's two lines for pause. So I took a black marker and wrote two lines on a whole bunch of these yellow stickers, and I put them around my space. I put them on my phone, I put them in the car, I put them, on the computer, just around. And I would literally put my thumb on the button and pause. So there's one for you, Terry, to remember to pause. Make some buttons, pause buttons, and pause, because you'll need something to remember to make that a practice. I loved every microsecond on this topic. Sweet. Helpful topic, suggestions for practicing. Timing was perfect. Thanks. Resonated what you shared about not speaking about a third party. Oh my gosh, right? Oh, I mean, wow. And then to notice internally, like, I was on the 3-month silent retreat where obviously I wasn't about other people, but inside my brain, it's just terrible. And then, but it does slow, so first we stop externally with that, and then we can pay attention to internally. Oof, oof, nasty, oof, oof. Pay attention, be kind, notice, be kind, notice, and it does slow down. It does slow down, and for some folks, when they're awakened, I guess it stops. I wouldn't know. Yeah, great practice. Oh, it's 8:30. Thank you so much for being here. And boy, I just think this is such a profound place to practice wise speech. So good luck. Good luck with it. Work at it. As Terry said, we have to practice it. We have to remember to pause. Even if you just do that, just remember to pause before you speak. That's going to make a huge difference. Hey, Patty, you're here. All right. Love you all. I'll see you Saturday morning, maybe, whatever. I'll be here Saturday at 9. And thanks for the suggestions. I've got a couple of great topics that folks have sent in. And yeah. Okay. Good night.